Okay, so the question here is, given a lens of focal length 40 centimeters, where can I put an object so that I get an image that is 4 times larger and upright? Now, let's see, some things we know right away is if it has a focal length of 40 centimeters and it's a positive number, we know we have a converging lens. And if we know that we want an upright image, we know that our magnification has to be +4. That's what positive magnification means. We also know that with a converging lens, to get an upright image, we want to be closer than the focal point. We actually don't need to know this. When we work out the math, we'll see that gets it to us automatically. So let's see what we can do here, what equations we have to work with. Well, I know the focal length, and I want to know something about where to put DO. So right away I should think about my thin lens equation, my if I do, I die equation. Now in this case, I know the focal length, but I know neither DO nor DI. Okay, let's see what else we have to work with. Well, I know my magnification, which gives me a relationship between DO and DI. I know that magnification is HI over HO, which doesn't really help me, but I also know that it is negative DI over DO. And so in this case, I know that 4 equals negative DI over DO, or solving for DI equals -4 DO. So now I can plug this into this equation, and I'll see that it'll work quite straightforward because it will give me DO. So I'll plug some things in here. I know that 1 over 40 is 1 over DO plus 1 over -4 DO, where I've just substituted in here. Now, temptation here is to invert this equation at this step, but of course I can't invert that. When I have a plus sign, it will not simply give me 40 equals DO minus 4 DO. If that were the case, then we would not need this equation at all. We would always just write it F equals DO plus DI. What I do need to do is get a common denominator here. So I'm going to multiply this by 4 over 4, which is of course just 1. This will be -1 over 4 DO. These now have the same denominator, so I can just subtract them and get 3 over 4 DO. Now at this point, I do simply have two fractions, so I can't invert them. I could also multiply the DO over to the other side and do it that way, but I'm just going to invert both sides first and get 40 is equal to 4 DO over 3. And then if I multiply both sides by 3/4, I will get 3/4 times 40 equals DO, which is, of course, simply 30. Remember our unit was in centimeters, so our DO will be 30 centimeters. And as a check, we see that this is in fact less than the focal length. So that does tell me I'm holding it close up, kind of my magnifying glass picture. If I were to draw a picture of this, I have my lens, I have my focal point here at 40 centimeters, and I'll have my object here at 30 centimeters. And then the question I want to ask, where is my image? Well, I see that my image is -4 times DO. So it will be 4 times the distance in this direction, and so it will be out